You're such a dork.
I'm tired.
It took us just over 5 days to make the 700-mile sail from Darwin, Australia to the Spice Islands, Indonesia. It was a great sail. We had awesome weather and wind for most of the trip, and had just started to get into the groove when suddenly we arrived. I called up some boats on the VHF to see what the mooring situation was at the village quay. It's always a bit intense entering a new country for the first time, and I wasn't sure what to expect. Just arrived in Band Neira, Spice Islands, Indonesia, and we didn't prepare enough. So Karen is sewing an Indonesian flag for us right now. After the long trip, the girls were feeling like some yoga. It was a short commute since we were stern-tied just a few meters from shore. Brady decided to join the girls and made a valiant effort at a headstand of sorts. I decided to watch from the comfort of Delos, where I could be entertained and enjoy my ice-cold bintang beer at the same time. I couldn't wait to get in the water. It was so good to swim again. We hadn't been snorkeling in ages, mostly due to those pesky saltwater crocs back in Australia. Our first snorkel in Indonesia didn't disappoint. The water was clear, and the coral was healthy and alive. So cool to see in an area that was destroyed by a volcanic lava flow not too long ago. It's impressive how quickly nature can recover if left to do her own thing. Our new dinghy Maggie takes some practice to get into. Karen and Yasha are old hands by now, but Nina needs just a little bit more practice. I suppose we could have given her a hand, but well, she's got to learn, right? The next day we decided to hop on a local boat for a tour of a nutmeg plantation, the literal heart of the Spice Islands. With the fishhook holding the throttle for cruise control and me on lookout duty, we were in full tourist mode. We'd heard so much about these far-off islands in eastern Indonesia, these small specks in the middle of the Banda Sea that most people have heard of, but very few actually venture to. We were excited to start exploring, and Nina wasted no time getting acquainted with the local goat population. Brady and I watched two kids play that all-time favorite, beat my brother with the palm frond. It was so great to be in a different culture again. We loved Australia, but there's nothing like traveling to far-off islands, well off the beaten track. Before leaving the village, we visited the town well to bless ourselves, a tradition that's held up for generations. The locals swear the water has magical and healing qualities. We emerged from the village to find a scooter gang willing to give us a ride. With nothing but small dirt roads, scooters are the transport of choice in these islands. Westerners aren't a common sight here, so we got our share of waves and stares. We arrived at the plantation to find massive almond trees stretching hundreds of feet into the air. Most of these trees are 400 years old and date back to the beginning of the plantations. They weren't planted for their tasty nuts, but to shade the really valuable merchandise, the nutmeg. Nutmeg has been picked here for centuries, and not much has changed. Nutmeg is really temperamental and won't just grow anywhere. Banda just happens to have the right mix of climate and soil for the spice to thrive. At one point, the Spice Islands provided nearly all the nutmeg, cloves, mace, and cinnamon for most of Europe. In the spice race, Portugal, the English, and the Dutch battled it out for control of these little gems. European powers of the age sent huge armadas of ships and built massive fortresses. The Dutch won and built an empire on the spoils. With the monopoly on the spices, the Dutch built the cities of Amsterdam and Rotterdam. They increased the prices until at one point, nutmeg was actually worth more than its weight in gold. It was at a huge human cost, though. The local Bandanese were enslaved, their chieftains slaughtered or held captive while the general population was forced to work the nutmeg plantations. Most of the local population perished while providing the means to build cities they would never see. Imagine all that power, wealth, and greed released just because the contents of these little shells were so delicious when dried over an open fire. But now the Bandanese are doing really well for themselves. The Europeans have gone home, and the local system of sultans once again rules. The past is remembered, but not dwelled upon. There aren't any grudges held. It's a part of their history, and everyone is looking toward the future. The grand houses where the oppressors once ruled from are now owned by local entrepreneurs. Slowly they're being restored and turned into cozy bed and breakfasts with an Indonesian flair. Abba and his wife brought us into their home and cooked us wonderful, traditional Indonesian meals. We even got a cooking lesson with some local recipes. Tourism is on the rise, but it's still a pretty sleepy place. Roosters and baby goats wander the streets in harmony. The fast food joint is this street cart that just happens to serve our favorite Indonesian dish, mie goreng. We got on so well with Abba, we asked him to sail to Ambon with us as our personal guide. So if you ever make it to Band Neira, be sure to check his place out. It's really sweet. Up next, the crew climbs a volcano. And set sail for Ambon.